Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Diana and I'm the creator of Money Boss Mama, where I teach women how to save money, pay off debt, shift their money mindsets, as well as stick to a budget. And in this video, I've decided to sit down and break down why I choose to rent versus buy, especially why I chose to continue renting through my financial journey or debt-free journey more specifically. Now, before I get started, I will say this because I know it seems like every time the topic turns to renting versus buying, it's like they can never join together in holy matrimony. It turns into a hot mess, heated debate over who's right and who's wrong. The way I see it, there is no right or wrong option. You're going to do what's best for you, and you're going to have different factors that come into play in regards to whether you choose to rent or choose to buy. You renting does not mean that people who own a home are wrong, and those who are in homes, that does not mean that people who are renting are wrong. Do not let anyone bully you into home ownership, and don't let anyone bully you into renting. Do what's best for you. So now that that has been said, the first reason why I chose to rent versus buy during my debt-free journey was that it was going to cost me more than what I was paying out in rent. I was only paying out about $525 during the time I started looking into the home ownership process. And based on the cost of the homes in the areas that I felt comfortable moving my kids into, the type of community, and then just basically how the home looked, it was $120,000 to around $150,000 for those types of homes. And based on my calculations, so adding in insurance like private mortgage insurance and everything like that, it was going to cost me about $700 to $900 a month. So I was looking at about a $200 to $300 increase. And based on where I was then financially, I wanted the majority of my money to go to debt. If I chose the home ownership route, it was going to make my budget super, super tight. I was already not a high earner, and I'm still not a high earner. And so basically to get into a home and just to say that I was now a homeowner, I was going to have to give up $200 to $300 a month. And yes, I do know that with home ownership, you are paying for something that's eventually going to be yours. So I guess it depends on your perception of what coming out more money means. But to me, I was thinking of short term, not so much something that was long term, like eventually owning your home. I was thinking 12 months, so 1 year. I was going to be coming out more money in that year versus what I would have been able to apply to debt had I stayed renting. And that just made more sense for me. I was just worried about the present, me being able to take care of my kids, myself, as well as my bills currently. I was not able to think 10, 20, 30 years out whenever I was able to pay off a mortgage. So it just made more sense for me during my debt-free journey to keep costs low and apply the majority of what I had to my debts, which leads me into reason number 2. I wanted to pay off all of my debt. And I know that not everyone cares to be debt free, and not everyone has all of their debt paid off before they start the home buying process. But since I was not a high earner and I knew the type of home that I wanted and the type of community that I wanted to be in, I needed to have all my ducks in a row. I know they look at DTI, or debt to income ratio. And if I'm not a high earner and I am drowning under debt, I'm not really going to be qualified for the homes that I want. And if I am qualified, I'm going to have an out the A sugar interest rate, and I'm going to have to put down a larger down payment more than likely. And so that didn't make sense to me. I did not want to go into the process biting my fingernails like, oh my God, I just hope, I hope I get this house. I don't know if I'm going to get it. I don't know if my credit score is right. I don't know, what they're going to say when it comes to my debt and my income. I don't want to go into that process with that type of stress. I want to walk into it with confidence. And so for me, my goal was get this debt paid off and put yourself in a winning position so that you can get into the home that you want to. Because I'm going to be completely honest. If I'm signing my name on the dotted line for something that's 5 to 6 figures, it's going to be something that I want, that I'm comfortable with. And one thing I will say with my debt-free journey, it has taught me to delay gratification and to have patience. I feel like those are the two biggest lessons that I got out of my debt freedom, or just my debt-free journey in general. To have patience. You can have what you want, but you've got to make sure that you work for it first. But I won't sit up here and act like I did not suffer from FOMO, especially when friends are on social media. You know, they're posting their new homes or they're redoing their homes. So they've got this brand new kitchen that they've paid for and that they just remodeled or things like that. And I found that during those moments, yes, I did go on Zillow and I did plug in my income and where I wanted to live and see what homes were available. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to start up this process again. But I feel like that was not really my true desire. It was just fear of missing out and me impulsively needing to start the home buying process, which brings me to the third reason. I stood firm and still stand firm behind my personal goals. So besides the fear of missing out, the whole American dream, the concept of you getting this home with this white picket fence, that was not something that really lit me up. It was kind of like a forced desire, because we just expect people when they become adults to go into the home buying process. You know, everyone wants a home. Everyone wants some place to call their own. But for me, it did not really light me up, and I had to stand firm behind my true values, like behind my true goals. Thinking of a rental property, that's what lit me up. And so I had to really take a step back and give myself that time to really think through those times of impulse where I'm like, I need to keep up with these people. I'm fine renting. I'm okay renting, and it makes sense for my personal goals at this time. And so like I said, I'm really glad that I made the decision to kind of take a step back. And also, I don't see home ownership, at least in the beginning, as an asset. I do see it as a liability in the beginning. And I know that, you know, the asset versus liability when it comes to owning a home, it depends on your perception of things. But to me, an asset is not going to take from me. A liability takes my money from me. An asset is actually making me money. And in the beginning, I'm paying on a mortgage. I'm putting in money. Especially if something breaks down, I'm putting in money. It's really a liability. I don't own that home. If I lose everything tomorrow, the bank is not going to be like, oh girl, it's yours. It's yours. This is your home. It's okay. Pay us whenever you get time. No, they're going to come and they're going to take my home. So I'm not really a homeowner until the mortgage is paid off, because I see the bank as the true owner. Kind of like with your car, you don't really own that car. The bank owns the car until you pay it off. And I mean, if you're not new here, you know that my goal is to purchase a duplex. I want that to be my first property. I don't want to go into the home ownership process purchasing a single family home. That's just not what aligns with my goals. It's not what lights me up and makes sense for my unique personal situation. I want to purchase a duplex, rent out the other side, and hopefully the tenant's rent will cover my mortgage. That's still a liability. I'm going into that process knowing that that is a liability, because if something breaks down, it's on me. If they tear up the other side, it's on me to fix that. And so I'm very well aware of that, but I do know eventually it will turn into an asset. And I kind of chose the multifamily property first because I feel like that will help offset that liability a little bit, because hopefully I won't be having to come out any money when it comes to the mortgage, and I will just save the money that I would typically be giving away in rent, put it in like a little cash reserve for future repairs, taxes, you know, all of that good stuff that comes with it. The fourth reason I chose to rent versus buy during my debt-free journey is because it was less of a commitment. I can just get up and leave whenever my lease is over. And I'm someone where I have to have a changing environment. If I sit somewhere for too long, it starts to take a toll on my mental health. I like to switch up the scenery. So in the beginning, before I had my son, I was moving every single year. I wanted to experience different cities within the state, you know, different communities, different, just a different scene. I find that changing up my scene or my environment does really help me to keep going hard when it comes to my goal. But I know that if I purchase a home, I'm kind of like stuck in that home, or at least for a couple of years, I'm not able to just pick up and go. Like if I want to just change states, it's a whole process now to switch states because now I have a property that I'm responsible for. And I really like that if something breaks down, I can just contact the person who manages the property and they send out maintenance. And 9 times out of 10, like as long as it was not my fault, they have to cover those costs. They come out and they mow my lawn, spray, do all of that upkeep. I don't have to worry about that. But I knew that if I became a homeowner or started the home buying process, I was now going to be responsible for all of those things. And that was going to be extra that I needed in my budget that I just did not have at the time. And if something broke down, I feel like I needed a large amount of money set aside in order to cover those costs. Like you need a separate emergency fund, I feel, just for home repairs and maintenance. And there was no way I was going to be able to do that if my mortgage was costing me $200 to $300 more based on rent. And I do know I could have gotten into a home that was a little less than what I wanted. But like I said earlier, if I'm going to put my name on the dotted line for something, it's going to be something that I want, something that I am comfortable in, because it's a huge commitment. And I'm not going to let my impulses speak for me and just cause me to go with the first thing that I see just to say that I'm now a homeowner. That doesn't really work for me. But anyway, these were the main 4 reasons why I chose to rent versus buy during my debt-free journey. Super happy with my decision. Do not regret it at all. That extra money that I was able to free up in my budget every single month did allow me to get to debt freedom. And now I am ready to start the home buying process. You guys know I'm in the process of saving a down payment for a duplex. And I am confident with the amount that I'm saving based on the price range that I'm looking for. And I'm confident knowing that my DTI is in great condition. I have no debt. My income has increased. My credit score is top notch. I'm going into the process now with my chest poked out, knowing that I did the work. I practiced delayed gratification for 4+ years to get myself to this place. And now the vision that I was entertaining before, I can actually move forward with it to bring that vision into reality. So if you are renting right now, don't let anyone bully you into home ownership, because your reasons for renting are going to be a lot different than the next person's. Your values are different than the next person's. Your personal goals are different than the next person. Your financial situation is different from the next person. And if you chose to purchase a home, don't let a renter tell you that you made a mistake. Everyone manages their money in a way that makes sense for them. So hopefully the reasons why I chose renting make sense based on my personal goals and values. But if you rent or if you are a home buyer, let me know down in the comments. Let me know why you chose to go that route, and if you wish you had maybe chose a different route. I am curious to know what you guys think when it comes to the rent versus buy debate in the personal finance community. But until next time, I will catch you guys in the next video.